That's right. Thanks, Rick. The Media Center, a popular place. For one, we're under shelter, but yes, a very big announcement. And before I introduce the individuals you see on the stage, I do want to remind everyone in the Media Center that we are currently live on NBCSN for this big announcement. Sitting here at the table, we have Harry Scott Jr., the owner of H. Scott Motorsports, driver Clint Bowyer, and Risa McGuire, the Executive Vice President for Sales of 5 Hour Energy. So for the big announcement, Clint, I know this is the missing piece of the puzzle for you. I'm going to turn things over to Harry Scott.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Krista. It's my pleasure this afternoon to announce that Clint Bowyer will be driving for H. Scott Motorsports in 2016. Clint's a 10-year veteran that brings leadership, experience, and winning ways to our organization. Clint's personality and enthusiasm for racing is going to be something we're going to welcome to our organization. And although he'll be with us only for 1 year, we plan to make the most of it on and off the track. Our goal next year will be to win races, to make the chase, and contend for a championship. Right, Clint?
That's exactly right. Better be.
I'm equally excited to announce that 5 Hour Energy, his long-term sponsor, will return for his tenure with us as his primary sponsor in 2016. Clint and 5 Hour Energy have formed a very special relationship and partnership over the past 4 years, and Clint and 5 Hour Energy have become synonymous in the garage and among millions of race fans. So when I started this team 2 years ago, I did so with the goal of organically building an organization that would one day contend for championships in the Sprint Cup Series. Now with Clint as our driver, sponsorship from 5 Hour Energy, our relationship with Chevrolet, with Mr. Hendrick and his organization, and with Stewart Haas Racing, I feel that we have all the ingredients necessary to achieve that goal. So it's a very big day for our organization, and with that, I'd like to officially welcome you to the H. Scott Motorsports family.
Thank you very much, Harry. 5 Hour is very excited about this because we get to keep our brand ambassador, who we have really enjoyed the relationship over the years. We're obviously disappointed when the announcement was made at MWR because we did build a lot of good relationships there, but we're very excited to be with Harry Scott and Clint at the new race team.
Thank you.
Clinton, we're going to open it up for questions, but I think just to start off, if you can just talk about, I use the analogy, a puzzle, the missing piece of the puzzle for you. This seems like a really good fit on all fronts.
Yeah, what a whirlwind year, you know, to say the least. You know, the neat thing about all of this is, you know, you build these relationships, these partners with the sponsors, and I've never had one like I've had with Risa and everybody at 5 Hour Energy. It's a family. That relationship, the bond there is second to none to anything I've ever seen in the sport. So with that, you know, you go through these trying times and the uncertainties and you know, what next? What does this mean? You know, the neat thing is there's always that phone call to Risa, and she has that same question to you back. That's the good thing about all of this. And that being said, with the announcement Wednesday of you know, going to be in Tony Stewart's ride, all right, now we've got to figure out what are we going to do next year. You know, how are we going to make next year the biggest splash possible for, you know, not only myself but for 5 Hour Energy, and Harry Scott was you know, the lead candidate in all of that. You know, it's kind of weird as we've gone through this together. You know, there's always been that door that's always the one that opens the easiest, and Harry Scott was definitely that. Looking forward, you know, the marriage that he has with Hendrick, with Stewart Haas organization. I mean, that's very strong, and it's something that I'm looking forward to building on. And you know, I just think that that's where we're going to have our success. You know, Harry is a young, very aggressive owner that we need in this sport, and to have this together and tie my name to H. Scott Motorsports is something I'm looking forward to, and get back to our winning ways.
And we're going to open it up for questions. Questions for Clint, Risa, or Harry. Do we have any here in the media center? I can't see it. Okay. Sorry, I can't see.
JimMotorMotorsport.com. For Harry, as you pointed out, having Clint just for 1 year, but what do you see the benefits of having a driver of Quint's quality and what can he bring to your organization that will then turn around and help it long term?
Well, I think, Jim, that's a good question. I think Clint will help us long term because he's basically going to be able to help us kind of reset our program and set the bar higher going forward. And with his experience again and his leadership and his enthusiasm, I think it'll be contagious amongst all the team members. And I think going forward, he'll help us form a even stronger relationship with Stuart Haas. And that will obviously be beneficial to us.
In the back.
Zach Catanzo, Eddie Front Stretch. For Clint, on a personal level, what do you feel of Tony Stewart's announcement and what he's meant to your career?
Yeah, I mean, Tony's, that was a hard thing for me, I mean, it's obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but with that opportunity, you lose, one of the boys, like I said, Wednesday. I mean, that's a champion of the sport, a guy that I've always, enjoyed just because of our backgrounds. But, with that, I mean, look at the obvious, the wonderful opportunities that have happened because of all this. I mean, that's that first, opportunity that came Wednesday, and then this. I mean, it's just like Harry and Jim asked him just a second ago, what does this mean long term? This means, for me, to answer that question and be a part of and allude to what he said is, I don't want to leave Harry with nothing at the end of this. We're going to build a great program here, and when I leave there, I want to be able to leave there him having a winning organization and an established team to where he can put the next driver in and go for broke just like he did with us. So that is what I want to do with H. Scott Motorsports next year.
Kenny.
With NASCAR.com. Question for Clint and a question for Harry. For Clint, what's the downside to only getting to race 1 year with an organization, knowing you're not going to be there the following year?
Well, anything could be a downside if you allow it to. I mean, it's going to take hard work and dedication. It's going to take funding. We have to have all these, and we have all that put in place at H. Scott Motorsports. I've got the best of the best. When you talk about equipment, we've got Hendrick engines. We've got ties to Stuart Haas organization. I mean, these are the guys that are winning the races, and I now have that bond, that connection to this kind of equipment. So for me as a race car driver, that's huge, and I think there isn't a downfall. When I look at next season, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's not any pressure. We're building I mean, he's got a wonderful organization. I mean, he's spread clear across this sport in so many ways. Xfinity Cup, the K&N. Thank you. You should have already won a race by now, right?
We should have already run it by now. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, to the point, he spreads so drastically across this sport. It's neat to be a part of that. I mean, I want to do more racing, right? I'm a race fan. If I can't be a part of it, I want to be using and helping his K&N guys, helping the Xfinity program, and being a part of all that. So I'm looking forward to it.
I have a question for Risa. Clint mentioned that when he has a question, he calls you as the brand ambassador for 5 Hour. Those phone calls, I imagine, could come at any hour of the day.
Oh, yes, they can come at any hour of the day, for sure. But he is a great brand ambassador for 5 Hour. The relationship has been wonderful. And with our customers, they support him 100%. Our company supports him. And he's just done a great job for us for the last, 4 years? 4 years.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For Harry, what does this mean as far as next year? We're looking at 3 teams out of H. Scott Motorsports. The year after that, do you stay at 3? Are you going back to 2?
Well, we really haven't ruled out anything for 2016 or beyond. So, I'm not prepared to give you an answer on that because I simply don't know at this point.
Lee?
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Clint, at 36, can you talk about all these opportunities that are in front of you now? I mean, your career at MWR, although it was great at the time, has been disjointed at times, but to have the kind of stability that you need to really accomplish what you kind of set forth doing when you first got to RCs, years ago, I mean, is this going to give you that opportunity to, finally make your mark in the sport.
Absolutely. I mean, this is arguably the best opportunity that I've ever had in my whole career, and it starts here at H. Scott Motorsports, and it just keeps building, and that's the neatest thing about all of this. I mean, I loved my opportunity that I had. The people, the culture at MWR was a lot of fun, a great home for both Reese and I. That day is over with, and that brings nervous times, for a race car or for anybody. I mean, all right, so you've lost your job. What does that mean? What do we do? And to be able to come out of all that and be smelling like roses, like I said Wednesday, is just amazing. I mean, it truly is become the best opportunity I've ever had at winning races and competing for a championship.
We're going to continue to ask questions to Clint, to Risa, to Harry, but in the meantime, we're going to throw it back to the NBC broadcast booth to Rick, Jeff, and Steve. And I know, Rick, we're very excited to see this partnership, this family, as Clint said, continue next season. And Claire? Is there one for Claire?
XM NASCAR Radio, and we're carrying this live on Sirius XM as well. And I want to ask you, Harry, about the people that will be at your company. You don't know exactly how you're moving forward, and Clint, for you too, will you bring anyone with you? Are there people that you work with that you want to bring to see the organization, or is that sort of undecided at this point?
Yeah, on my side, of course, there's a lot of people that are at MWR. I mean, there's so many good quality people, and obviously it means a lot to me that they land in good homes and everything, and I'm trying to do everything I can do, to help them as well. But I mean, hell, let's face it, I had to take care of Clint for a little while here. I didn't know what Clint was going to do, but now that this is set in stone, it's announced, and we know all the pieces of the puzzle are put together. Now, obviously, my focus now is to make sure that everybody gets a good home.
So about sponsorship moving forward, once he moves over to Stewart Haas Motorsports, do you know what's going to happen with Our Energy then?
Right now, we're just concentrating on 2016, and we will announce and decide on 2017. We have plenty of time to do that.
Joseph Walken, frontstretch.com. Working with a rather young team, have you compared yourself to what Casey Kane and Kurt Busch did a few years ago?
Yeah, I do. I talked to Casey. Casey and I are actually really close, and I asked him about, this very opportunity, and he went through it. He landed at a great home, and I don't look at it as a that filling that void. I mean, this is an opportunity to take advantage of something. When I walked into MWR, things were hitting on all 8 cylinders. They were running good, and we took advantage of that. We capitalized on that. We won 3 races and ended up finishing second in the championship that year. That was a great opportunity. I see that opportunity with H. Scott Motorsports. They're ready. They've got the people in place. They have all the pieces of the puzzle. Addington, a winning crew chief, steering the ship, and I'm looking forward to capitalizing and pouncing on that opportunity.
Dan Gelston, the Associated Press. Harry, you mentioned you were hoping this would reboot the program. Right now you're 30th and 36th in the standings. Why aren't you guys as far ahead as perhaps you'd like to be? Is it a matter of the drivers or the funding or the cars?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with just being a young race team. We haven't completed our full second season yet. So, a lot of it comes with trying to get the guys together and get them gelled with drivers that are relatively inexperienced. And we've, since I bought Phoenix Racing September of 2013, we've basically replaced everything there. So we've got new cars, we've got, new simulation, new guys working together. And so when you try to put all that together, it takes a while to get it all to mesh. And I think, there's been some of that. There's been some luck that's been less than great. But overall, I think with where we've come in the last 2 years, if I step back from it and look at it, I think it's pretty amazing. And I think we're on an upwards trajectory. And to me, that makes me more optimistic than anything else.
Let's go over. Yeah,
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Clint, you've been sort of a calming face the last couple months as things have developed with Michael Waltrip Racing, focused on keeping the guys, focused on finishing out the year strong. But I'm curious internally, what have you gone through to get to this point as you've tried to figure out what you're doing for 2016, and how did this deal come together?
Well, it's like I said earlier, it's been a whirlwind. It's been trying times on everybody. Casey and Chip and I have been down at the office a lot. I've been on the phone call with, with Reese at maybe it's 10 a.m. and it might be 10 p.m. Or on vacation. It's just it's a big deal for me. It's my life, it's my career, and you want to make sure that you don't mess it up. Just like I said earlier, you never know when one door closes, that next door is an opportunity. You got to make sure you get the best of it and make that the best you can for yourself and your partners. And I think we've done that in a big way.
LeeSpencerMotorsport.com. Risa, what is it about Clint? I mean, we all know what a great guy he is, and life of the party kind of dude. But from your perspective, what is it about him that keeps 5 Hour coming back?
Clint is just a great with our customers. He works really well with our customers. He goes above and beyond at our hospitality trailer, at events that we ask him to go to. He never counts like how many he's done before. He's just always there to help us, and his personality is dynamic. Our customers love him. They have a great time around him, and our company has a great time with him. So it's just all around, he's a good fit. When we hire people at our company, the first thing we look at is, do they fit in our organization as a person and the personality? And that's what we did when we were looking at drivers, and he just fit perfect.
And how many races will 5 Hour be on the car next year?
24.
Super. And Clint, you mentioned Addington earlier. Have you locked in on a crew chief yet? Is he expected to be your crew chief for next year?
It's been everything we can do to get this announcement to you as soon as possible. I mean, it's amazing how fast everything happened. Thinking back at Pocono, when I told everybody came looking for answers, and I'm like, guys, I don't have them. I have no clue what I'm going to do, and we're working on that. And all the while, we're trying to make the chase and trying to be competitive and compete for a championship. And it's just crazy, all the things you have to juggle in this sport, but it's part of it. I mean, we're all big boys, and it's that's the business of NASCAR. There is business behind closed doors and behind the scenes and not on camera, which you see on Sundays. But like I said, I couldn't be more happy and excited for what's ahead. I mean, it's just crazy to think back how my career got started, racing one race at Nashville, and Richard giving me an opportunity to that door closed and walked in the door at MWR and immediately started winning races and having a lot of fun and created a big splash, to that door closing and freaking out and landing in an even a better situation with H. Scott Motorsports, and even further and beyond with Stewart Haas Motorsports.
NASCAR.com. Clint, can you give us a brief timeline of when you found out about MWR, and then if the Stewart Haas deal came together before the H. Scott Motorsports deal, and if they had any guidance for you of maybe where to go, or if H. Scott came first?
Well, I mean, it was, shoot, I don't even remember. It's been so crazy. But that Pocono was the first time that I was at a racetrack and read the same press release as you did, and then showed up at the track trying to figure out what that means for everybody. But from there, you gotta land and secure a deal. You hear about, it's like I said Wednesday, you hear about Tony and needed to make sure that if there wasn't an opportunity. I mean, I'm a racer. We're all want to be successful, and to be successful, you got to be around the best equipment available, and you start to top. I mean, that's where my phone was dialing, and certainly that was my first ask to Stewart Haas Racing and seeing if there was a home for me there. And from there, that created a little bit of a interesting dynamic to try to figure out what we're going to do for 2016. Now you're back on the phone with Risa and trying to figure out, you know, what is the best opportunity for her too. So the neat thing is this is a perfect opportunity and a chance for us to build. Harry has a lot, on the line. I'm really thankful and excited about H. Scott Motorsports. This is a big deal for both of us.
Mike?
I got you.
A race this week too.
We do.
Need to win to go forward. How do you
do.
see your chances, and is the weather going to impact that at all?
It is. Yeah. Do you think we're going to race this weekend? Next week? Is the hurricane going to hit? Who knows? The one thing I know is I'm going to be driving for H. Scott Motorsports next year and Stuart Haas after that. And, we do have a lot on our table. We've got to win, and believe it or not, last year's champion has to win as well. There's a lot of guys that have a lot to lose, but this has been a fun track. We've won twice in the Xfinity Series here. I love this place. It's a lot of fun. It's hard to explain a lap around this place because your workload is through the roof at this place. How we don't wreck every other lap around here is beyond me. I mean, it blows me away that we actually can think about a green flag pit stop at this place and somebody hasn't wrecked. It's just that hectic and exciting around this place. But I'm looking forward to this weekend or next week or whenever.
We have one up front here. Use it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Mike Chesney with the local CBS station here in Dover. Kind of took the question I was going to ask you, but the hurricane does look like it's gonna miss. But can you address over the course of this week? I'm sure you guys have been keeping a really close eye on the weather situation. It did rain did wash out today. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I can talk. The first, we were worried that we weren't going to be able to get Risa here. That's where my main concern was going into this week is, oh no, we need to announce this. We need to get it off our chests, and I need Risa there to do that. So we had to get Risa in Memphis, and we got her here. We've announced this thing, and I think the hurricane's going to leave, and I know it's going to rain.
Are there any other questions for Clint? We got one more. This will be the last one. Lee?
LeeSpencerMotorsport.com. Harry, have you settled in on a number yet? Are you guys still trying to get a number? And I do have one after that.
Lee, we haven't determined what number we're going to use. We're working on a couple possibilities, and at the appropriate time, we'll announce that once we secure it for sure.
And as probably the youngest guy that owns a race team out in the Cup Garage, are you happy with how the meetings are going towards the next step as far as organizing the teams and what have you following the owners meeting on Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of very, very smart people who are invested in that process, and I have a lot of confidence in what everybody's trying to do, and I think both the owners and NASCAR are pulling the rope in the same direction, and I think that
Has that ever happened before?
It was a historic meeting. But I do have confidence that what ends up coming out of this process will be good for the sport. It'll be good for the owners, the drivers, our sponsor partners, and for NASCAR.